Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's your old pal the Vollock here, once again coming to you almost alive from the very bottom of Rocky Top. Well, boys and girls, settle in. It's Georgia week. Longtime friends of the channel will have heard me say before that there are two kinds of games for Tennessee football. They're the games that matter and the games that only matter if you lose. This week is one of those games that matters, no matter what. How do you tell the difference? We beat South Carolina, we beat Missouri. Nobody was doing somersaults in the aisles. They were good wins. People would have been very upset if we'd lost either one of those games, though, let me tell you. Those are the kinds of games that if you lose them often enough, you get coaches fired. But that's not where we are. We are here, Georgia week, our first game that matters of 2020. I would have felt a lot better if Georgia had looked bad on Saturday night, but they didn't look bad. It looks like their defense might, in fact, be elite. That's unfortunate, but those are the breaks. You're not going to get to Atlanta playing a cream puff every week. It's just not going to happen. It's the toughest conference in the land. You've got to go through it if you want to be a champion. So, let's first talk about the spread. Georgia opened as a 14-point favorite. It's too much. Way too much. Take the Vols with confidence if you can still get that. I think some places it's already fallen down to 12.5. Money going the Vols' way. I wouldn't get nervous until it got to 10 or single digits. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about how can the Vols win this thing outright. It's not as daunting as it first might seem. Number one, the offensive line has to play up to where they are on paper. As I said, Georgia, their defense, their front seven, might be elite. On paper, at least, Tennessee's offensive line might be elite. It's strength on strength, ladies and gentlemen. Strength on strength. If Tennessee can run the ball on that Georgia defense, you gotta feel pretty good about their chances. Number two, defense is gonna have to step it up. Like I said, you've got a strength on strength matchup between the Tennessee offense and the Georgia defense. You've got a not-so-strength versus not-so-strength on the other side of the ball. Stetson Bennett, he looked pretty good Saturday night. I don't know that I'm totally sold on him after starting exactly one game. He's still a first-year quarterback. Now there's some film on him. He's going to start to show tendencies. He's going to start to show things that he can and can't do. Defensive coordinators, they're going to pick up on that. Maybe he's the real deal. Maybe, he's the next Eric Zaire. Could be. Don't know yet. But what I know Tennessee has to do, Tennessee's got to win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, but especially on defense. That Georgia offensive line's pretty good too. Maybe not quite elite, but maybe. Got to get pressure on this quarterback. Got to get them. The defensive game plan is the same for both teams. Get them away from the run, put pressure on the quarterback, force him into mistakes. That brings me to point three. Garantano can't be the one to make those mistakes. Cannot be. He's taken care of the ball so far. No fumbles lost, no interceptions. Got to keep that up. Got to force Georgia into some of those mistakes. Got to get some turnovers. Number four, special teams. Samaglia has got to figure out what's going on. He's 1 of 3 on field goals this year. In a game that we hope is close, he's got to be money. He's got to find it again. Whatever the issue has been with the snap, the hold, the kick, the protection, whatever, hope they figured it out this week, because it could very well come down to a field goal to keep it close, to tie it up, to force overtime, or to win the game. You never know. You never know. 5. We need Georgia to do their Georgia thing. People who follow Georgia know what I'm talking about. They have elite talent all over the field. But for some reason, they always Georgia one up over the course of a year. Georgia fans know what I'm talking about. There's always that one game where they just Georgia all over themselves and we have to get the hose. Last year it was South Carolina. South Carolina beat them. South Carolina was not a better football team than Georgia last year. They won the game. A few years ago, Tennessee beat them when Tennessee was not the better team. It happens. This is a trap game for the Dawgs. They had big-time rival Auburn last week. They've got Alabama next week. They might be overlooking the Vols a smidge, and we want that to happen. We want, for once, we want a little less than maybe their best effort, their best game plan, their best whatever you want to call it. Fun fact, the Bulldog is one of the few dog breeds that absolutely could not survive without humans. So if we go away, no more Bulldogs. It's almost worth it. So those are my keys to the game. All those things go right, we could be celebrating in Athens like we did when Jawan Jennings caught that Hail Mary in 2016. Dog fans know what I'm talking about. Oh, don't pretend that you've forgotten, Dog fans. Do not pretend. I know you remember. He went up. He came down with it. It was great. Even though Butch Jones was the coach, it's a fond memory. It's my most fond recent memory of this rivalry. Another thing to point out, hopefully Georgia actually abides by the rules. I don't know if you saw the game on TV, but there were a little more than 20,000 fans in that stadium on Saturday night. Hopefully we're in the weeds a little bit and they're not going to try to bust the social distancing rules for little old us. Maybe if they actually follow the rules, it'll be a little more welcoming for the visiting volunteers. It's 3:30 CBS game, national television, all the pressure's on the Dogs. Everybody expects Tennessee to lose. I'm picking the Vols. I already told you, I'm picking the Vols against the spread. I think there's a decent chance that the Vols win outright. I'll be the happiest wizard in the swamps, should that happen. Tune in for the instant reaction video. If we win, I'll be jubilant. If we don't win, you might just watch me sit here and cry for 10-15 minutes. Either way, ought to be pretty entertaining for you guys. But now, it's time for the Vollock's curse once again. This week, we're going to curse Coach Kirby Smart. Coach Kirby Smart. This week, your distant cousin, the Dr. Pepper guy from the commercials, is going to stop by for an unannounced visit. He's going to keep you up late at night shouting, "Get Dr. Pepper here!" You're not going to get a lot of sleep. You're going to be very tired on Saturday, and you're not going to be very much on your game. You're going to make mistakes that will cost the Dogs dearly. You've been cursed by the Vollock, Kirby Smart. I can feel it. Still excited to have football back. Yes. We're going to go to Athens. And we're going to put those leg humpers down. Remember, friends, if you're not willing to make a Faustian bargain to beat your rivals, are you even a fan?